Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom. This is the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, tourism is pulling Barbados out of its recession. This assertion from Tourism Minister Richard Seeley, who is convinced the stellar performance of frontline workers in the sector is the main reason for the high percentage of repeat visitors to the island. He made the point at a special reception at the Waves Hotel and Spa, which was put on for staff by a couple who are on their 40th visit to the island. Shane Seeley has the story.
I want to say thank you on behalf of all of Barbados, because the truth is what you do is what is helping to sustain us.
Tourism Minister Richard Seeley saying a big thank you to staff at the Waves Hotel and Spa and all of Barbados's frontline hotel workers for delivering remarkable service to visitors to the island. But on this occasion, particularly to Robert and Shirley Robertson. The British couple have been coming to Barbados since 1990 and twice a year from 1996 to this day. This is their 40th visit to the island, and they're celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. And this time around, they've chosen to pull their pockets and instead serve the staff, who have helped make Barbados feel like home.
But the staff is what it's all about for us, and coming to Barbados, it's like coming home. It's like a second home to us.
So exactly what is it that draws the Robertsons back to Barbados year after year?
The people do. If we go down to Bridgetown or go to Holt Town, it takes us twice as long as it takes normal people to go through, because of the people we meet. We stop and have a chat.
The staff were treated to lunch, but for them it was just another opportunity to catch up and share another moment with the Robertsons.
We are ambassadors because we do have a lot of people we have a lot of people coming back. So that means that we're doing something for the people to be coming back. We're doing something for them to be coming back. So I think that we're doing really great.
Bob is no problem, neither is Shirley. For him, we have a joke on the mornings when he comes and he wants his scrambled eggs, which is scrambled egg, by the way, his grandson's scrambled eggs. But no, how I feel appreciated, and knowing that instead of we, doing it for them, they're doing it for us. So it makes us feel, part of a team, part of everything that's going on, and really, 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 really appreciate it.
And the tourism minister has described the staff at Waves as ambassadors for Barbados.
They're not coming to Barbados because of the Minister of Tourism or the chairman of the Product Authority or because the owner or the general manager of Waves Hotel. It is the interface they have with people in the activity section, people in reception, the housekeepers, very, very important. All of those folks are the important people, and this event gives us a chance to take a note of that.
The Robertsons leave Barbados on Monday for home in the UK, but they'll be back soon. They've already booked their stay here at Waves once again for February next year. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
Shane, thanks. The decision by Caribbean Airlines to axe its Port of Spain to Gatwick-London route will not directly affect Barbados. However, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Sue Springer, says any loss of airlift to the region is a cause of concern. The Trinidad and Tobago carrier blamed the withdrawal of the service on the high costs of running Boeing 767 aircraft on the route to Port of Spain. Now, that route was launched 3 years ago, and it will end on January 10th next year.
It is always sad to lose any airlift, especially from a major market, because it is an indirect method in which some people utilize to get here, and they fly to Trinidad and then take a flight from Trinidad to Barbados. I'm not cognizant of the actual numbers that do that, but of course it is another methodology. So any loss of airlift is always not a positive thing, but it doesn't actually affect Barbados totally directly.
Travel between Barbados and India has been made a bit easier through an air services agreement between the two states. It comes after 5 years of negotiations, and as Murugesan Subhashini retires as India's High Commissioner to Barbados. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, David Babulia, says a number of other areas have also been identified for closer cooperation between the two countries as Barbados builds its relationship with India.
Too often we in Barbados think of many countries as far away, but the world is becoming a much smaller place, and certainly both with the improvements in aviation and the Air Services Agreement today, as High Commissioner mentioned, will certainly facilitate that, but certainly the technological improvements have made doing business even more easy between countries that are spread far apart. As High Commissioner has reminded us, there's a lot that Barbados and India share in common, although far apart and difference in size. Democracy, the commitment to democracy. India is the largest democracy in the world. Certainly the Commonwealth, and we have to build on those links and take our relationship forward.
A farewell cocktail reception was held at the Barbados Yacht Club, thanking the outgoing High Commissioner for her service. Among those present, members of the Diplomatic Corps and the Indian community. Ms. Murugasan joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1980. In summing up her years as High Commissioner, she said Barbados and India have always been willing to cooperate.
So it's been bittersweet for 35 years for me, and with 7 assignments overseas. But it's been wonderful learning process. You go to different countries, learn about their culture, meet interesting people, and with today's high-tech world, it's so easy to connect. It's so easy to remain connected also. So I'm very glad that all of you had come and to say goodbye. And yes, it is sad that, I mean, in fact, since yesterday I've been feeling a bit depressed. Such a beautiful country, and I couldn't see it more, like for one more year maybe, but I'm being greedy.
Well, Barbados' mass casualty team was pressed into action following a 2-vehicle collision involving a car and a route taxi along Maxwell Road, Christchurch this morning. It left over 15 injured. The medical director of the ambulance services and 1 fire tender under the command of Station Officer Denton Foster responded to the accident. 16 passengers aboard the ZR complained of various injuries, including back, knee, hand, and chest pains. The car was driven by 71-year-old Alvin Mason of Churchview, St. John. He complained of pain to his left knee, while the driver of the ZR, Kevin Johnson, 32 years, of Lewis Gap, Green Hill, St. Michael, complained of pain to his back, neck, and foot. He, along with 5 passengers of the ZR, were taken to Fast Track for treatment. The others opted for private medical attention. Police also responded to several other reported minor accidents and are appealing to all motorists to use necessary due care and attention while using the roads. They're also being advised to ensure their driving practices match the conditions of the roads, particularly when it rains. Barbadians are being told to expect a significant improvement in the weather over the next 24 hours. This after experiencing periods of heavy showers accompanied by lightning and thunder during the course of the day as a tropical wave approached the island chain. This is according to senior meteorologist Clem Williams, who says the worst of the weather appears to have passed, even though more showers could be on the cards. According to Mr. Williams, the tropical wave is interacting with an upper-level trough system over Barbados and the southern part of the Eastern Caribbean. And our meteorologist David Best will tell us more about the system and what to expect tomorrow later in the evening news. It was an act that opened Barbados's eyes to the fact that this peace-loving nation was not immune to international terrorism. This is how Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs Stephen Lashley described the bombing of Cubana Airline Flight 455 in 1976, which he says came without warning and was a wake-up call. 73 passengers were killed, including members of the Cuban National Youth Fencing Team and a number of young Guyanese academic scholarship winners who were traveling to Cuba to pursue studies in medicine. Overall, there were 57 Cubans, 11 Guyanese, and 5 North Koreans on board. Now, 39 years on, the victims were remembered during a wreath-laying ceremony at the Cubana Monument in Paynes Bay in St. James. In attendance were representatives of government and parliament, along with the ambassadors of Cuba, Venezuela, and CARICOM, and several Pan-Africanist groups. Mr. Lashley says Barbados stands against all acts of terrorism.
Barbados stands on that side of justice, which suggests that a global community has no choice but to reaffirm the dignity of humanity and to condemn in the strongest possible manner any acts that terrorizes our peoples, whether collectively or individually. That's the manner in which, of course, we remember the tragic circumstances surrounding the explosions that ripped the Cubana aircraft apart.
Mr. Lashley says a sign made in Barbados has been completed and will soon be sent to Cuba, where it will be placed at a school opened in memory of those killed in the Cubana bombing. Ambassador of Cuba to Barbados, Francisco Fernandez Peña, says only parts of 15 bodies were recovered and the others remained at sea. He says there are several unanswered questions.
39 years after this despicable act of barbarity, why is the biggest terrorist of this hemisphere walking freely around the world, not only into the U.S. territory? Remember that he was in Panama recently during the Summit of America, provoking many things.
Job security, pensions rights, and plans to outsource one of the Barbados Revenue Authority's departments are among concerns raised by workers of the BRA at a meeting this afternoon. And Acting General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Rosalind Smith, says she intends to discuss the issues with the management. Ms. Smith explained that many of the officers who are on secondment until March next year want these matters cleared up as soon as possible.
They're asking about the pension rights, and they were asking also about the car loans for traveling officers, since they have heard that within the evaluations department there are plans to outsource that section, and I think that we plan to have a meeting with the management to clarify these claims, because it goes contrary to what the workers would have anticipated over the 2-year period. There's also concerns in terms of the job security because of the length of time it's taken to appoint some of those workers.
We'll have more news ahead, but first we want to get your take on this question. Should special commemorations be held next year to mark the 40th anniversary of the bombing of Cubana Flight 455 off Barbados? Text yes or no to short code 8111. We'll have the results for you at the end of the news.
Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you. I'm wonderful. What brings you this side? I'm dropping off my credit card application. What credit card application?
This Globe Bar credit card is the new buzz. Chip technology to protect you from fraudulent transactions. Interest rates from 12% to 16%. Annual fees as low as $25 Barbados. Great rewards every time you shop, and you can transfer your balance from any existing card.
Seriously, how Globe consistently makes life easier amazes me.
And there's creditor life insurance to cover repayment of the outstanding balance up to $15,000 Barbados in the event of untimely death.
People say life begins at 50. I beg to differ. Life begins when you think outside the bank.
Globe Finance. Think outside the bank.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta.
Luxury is now available and covered in chocolate. Introducing new Choc Ice from Bico, the luxury ice cream treat with real rich chocolate coating. Choc Ice is available island-wide from retail outlets, Bico Mobilers, and the Bico Direct Outlet. So indulge in luxury today with Choc Ice from Bico.
Hi, this is Nicholas Branker, inviting you to join me on a musical journey at City Nights Influences.
At City Nights, you'll groove to Bob Marley, Miles Davis, Roberta Flack, and many others, all interpreted by Nicholas Branker, as well as his own hits. Also on stage will be Bajan stars Edwin Yearwood, Biggie Irie, Alison Norval Ford, and more. Showtime, 8 p.m. at the Frank Collimer Hall, October 10th and 11th. Tickets at $80 at ticketpal.com or any TicketPal outlet.
See you all at City Nights Influences at the Frank Collimer Hall.
Start your weekend early with Q in the Community Thursday and Saturday. This Saturday, Q in the Community, hosted by the Barbados Workers Union at Solidarity House, Harmony Hall, St. Michael. Come for dancing, karaoke competition, and lots more. It's a Q weekend, sponsored by Stag, the official bearer of Q in the Community, and Jewers Whiskey. Tune into 100.7 FM or join our Facebook page for more details.
Barbadian students will, from next year, have another program to choose from at the Cape level. The course is Logistics and Supply Chain Operations. Details on the Cape program were provided by Education Officer in the Ministry of Education, Montej Dean Bowen, who explained to students its relevance to Barbados.
The introduction of logistics and supply chain education is in keeping with the mandate to provide subjects relevant to the economies of the region. It is also an attempt to address the gaps in the area from a very early stage of skills development. It has much relevance to the Caribbean and more specifically to the international business sector.
Ms. Dean Bowen says the ministry will continue building a strong foundation for those who wish to move on to further studies and training in specialized areas,
such as management, international business, marketing, accounting, information and communication technology, or entrepreneurship. This is very much evident in our secondary schools, where in some schools, students are exposed to business studies at an earlier stage than was previously the case. The ministry continues to support the entrepreneurial passion among our youth in secondary schools. Hence, greater emphasis is being placed on the quality of core skills such as critical thinking and problem solving and core competencies.
A helpline has been introduced to assist the members of the public in accessing health-related information. The entity behind the drive is the Ministry of Health. The helpline is an information and referral service. It provides answers to simple questions as well as directs callers to the relevant departments for more detailed responses. The helpline can be reached through the number 467-9500. It is open from 8:15 in the morning until 4:30 in the evening, Mondays to Fridays. Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But first, we want to hear from you on this question. Should special commemorations be